Somebody gon' get to tell them that I'm coming. And you can tell them that I'm coming.
So happy Sunday, happy Self-Care Sunday. We're bringing in another guest. We have Miss Kim from House Fitness and Nutrition. She's going to come on and give us some tips about just the whole health and wellness, where fitness and nutrition are concerned. So come on in, Kim, and join us.
Hey,
Oh,
Alicia.
hi. I'm taking these glasses off. How are you?
I'm doing well. Alicia, it's good to see your beautiful face.
Yes,
How are
thank you.
you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Okay, yes. So what we're going to do is get right into it. Okay. So we're going to have you explain to us first your journey, like how you got started, what's your passion, how were you inspired, and just give us all of that beautiful background information.
Okay, that's a loaded question. So my name's Kimberly House. I do House Fitness and Nutrition. I originally got into fitness, I would say, out of a necessity. I've always been, physical, active, just staying active because that's, what my mom brought me up doing. But it really became a necessity once I was diagnosed with lupus. So I was diagnosed with the autoimmune disease called lupus in 2005. I was 25 years old. And after, years of pain, fatigue, depression, just shifts within and outside of my entire body, there seemed to not be a lot of answers for that, and lupus is a disease that, it affects your entire body, chronic inflammation. It can attack your organs. It's mostly it mostly affects Black women. So 90% of the people that have lupus are women. Most of that is women, Black women, and then Latina women. And then there's a 10% or so of men who are diagnosed with it, mostly Black men as well. So of course, there's not a lot of information, support, and things like that out there for lupus. So over time, I guess what started off as, survival became empowerment for me because, I felt that since there wasn't a lot of help and support out there, I wanted to make sure that anybody that was going through the grief, depression, anxiety that I was going through, I wanted to make sure that they had some support. So I did create Lupus House Foundation, which was, support groups, events, and things like that. That was really helpful for not just, people that I hosted it for, but also for myself to grow with the community, learn from each other, share experiences that not only had to do with our pain, but also ways to handle it, to cope, and to grow from it. So I really wanted to feel strong. I didn't want to be, they say I have lupus, but lupus doesn't have me. I really wanted to be the epitome of that. I didn't want to be the face of lupus. I wanted to be the face of everything opposite of lupus, strength.
I love that explanation.
That was just my thought process and my goal. And I had hoped to bring lots of people on that, perspective, that journey with me too. So my body was constantly changing. Lupus is unpredictable, so you never know from day to day how you're going to feel. And then I just started really learning by doing a lot of research, talking with other people, hearing their experiences about my body more, and how there's so much within society that we eat, we breathe, we put onto our body, on our skin, and what we watch, the people we surround ourselves with, and how big of an impact that has on our health. So, it took years, and I say years, I mean like 10 plus years to shift perspectives. There's so many societal norms that we live by, and it took a while for me to shift from those perspectives. Even small things like just changing air fresheners in your house, like, stuff like that took time. But I just really wanted to, I felt the journey, it was bigger than me. It was something about turning, my personal battle into a purpose to help other women feel stronger and feel like, they had support in their corner for a disease that really doesn't have a lot of support. So just, did the lupus groups and things like that for like maybe 13 years. And by the time, I got to that 12 or 13 year, I was just ready to change that chapter into the fitness world. Like, hey, we deal with this, but what are we going to do about it? And that's where I really shifted into fitness and nutrition and in-house fitness and nutrition, and started doing the fitness world.
Okay, that's a really profound way to deal with a disease. So I respect the perspective that you gave, because oftentimes we can become a victim to a thing,
Yep.
but you changed it into more of an empowering way. And like you said, you didn't want to be defined by that. It's so many other things. Right.
Exactly.
So to me, I gathered that you didn't accept that and say, this is who I am. I'm lupus. No, I'm these other beautiful things, and I'm going to handle this in this way by empowering myself, by being active in my healing. Right. So, oh, wow. I respect that a lot.
Thank you.
So how do you then, with that attitude, that mindset, I can almost say you can pour that into your clients in fitness as to motivate them. So what are some of the tools, or how do you get the best? How are your clients getting the best when they come? Hey, Kim, I want to work out. I need to lose weight, or I'm just not feeling my best. How do you pour, into your clients to maximize their workouts?
Yeah, and that's a really good question, because the way that I train my clients and the goals and journeys that we go on are more so about listening to them deeply. Because working out, fat loss, weight loss, that's one thing. But a lot of my clients are not coming to me just to lose weight. If I really listen deeply, there's a lot going on, stress wise, managing pain. A lot of women are dealing with hormonal shifts, motherhood, careers, relationships. A lot of times it's a lot deeper than that. And then, figuring out how to fit in this lifestyle with, what they have going on. Really, just the one thing that I've learned a lot is taking the time to learn and understand people so that they actually feel seen and heard. I feel like that's important, because once I give them that and they trust me enough to share, then I feel like I can serve them the best way possible, the way God would want me to serve them, by making sure that they feel understood. And now that they're understood, we're on the same page about where we're going. Because we all want to look good and, fit into our clothes better and be more confident when we're, out and about. But for me, it's deeper than that. It's, healing from the inside out, nutrition wise, again, all the things that you're putting in and on your body, just making sure that they have some consistency, some structure that they can just, abide by or follow, check things off the list, and then just build habits over time that's just making them, not only feel better, but just mentally just have more clarity, make better decisions, be more productive. I think when you feel like you're understood and you're educated about how to move your body, you can show up differently. You can show up differently. And I feel like that's when the real transformation happens, from the inside out.
I
You
like
know, yeah, just telling somebody, lift some weights and lose 10 pounds so that they can look cute in a bikini next summer is one thing, but, really just digging a little deeper is giving them a real transformation that I'm looking for. So sometimes there's clients that I'm just like, it's probably just not a good fit, because, I feel like, I want to work with someone that is looking for a real transformation.
And I love that because sometimes people don't have the ability to do that. So even as a massage therapist, there are times when you have to walk away from and just tell somebody straightforward that, hey, I may not be the best fit for you. And that's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
But when people are money driven, or they just don't understand the exchange of energy,
Yes,
um
that part.
and just the value that, hey, it's okay, and there's no issue, but just having that ability to say, I'm not the professional for you, or
Mhm.
also knowing that this is not the right client for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge, and I like that as well. And see, I've never worked with you from the standpoint of the training aspect, but my daughter did. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that Heba, and I mentioned Heba in my last interview with Pilates, because she's been a great help to me on my journey. Um, she introduced me to Pilates, and I appreciated that. I didn't understand, like, oh, what is this? Like, just my whole core, my whole body just would feel like I'm just working out, and it was a challenge for me. And when she selected you to train with, she had so many great things to say. Just about that process and what she learned about being able to then go into the gym and do a proper workout on her own, just based
Yeah.
on some of the things that you taught her. So yeah, that's real good as well. Just knowing when to say yes, knowing when to say no, and not
Mm-hmm.
just surface level. It seems like
Mm-hmm.
you're very intentional about, your work and when a client comes to you. So I value that as well. And I know that people are going to take away. So let's just say, for example, I do have my fitness goals. What are some of the tips, just a few tips you can tell someone to maybe look for, if not you, a fitness, someone else on a journey, like whether it's just that transparency, you want somebody that you can trust, right? So what are just a few quick things that you would say look for, in your fitness trainer?
Um, well, someone that listens and understands you and doesn't treat you like a number, because everybody's so different. It's about, each of us are in a different season. Each of us have different types of goals. Not everybody's looking to lose weight. Some people want to build muscle. Some people want to gain some weight. Some people are dealing with stress and illness, and they feel weak and fatigued. And some people don't like cardio, running for hours, and you know, so these trainers that just treat you like a number and just have you doing stuff that, do you even like doing that? Because for me, it's about building a lifestyle of consistency and sustainability. So if I get to know you and I understand who you are, where you are in your journey and where you're trying to go, then I know that, okay, Alicia doesn't even like going in the gym. Maybe she prefers to do something at home in the privacy of her own home. And who knows, why that might be. We could get into that too, but some people, they just have different preferences, or maybe we need to work together to get you through that, discomfort of not wanting to be in the gym. So we work through that, but just really understanding where people are is going to be a very important thing to look for in your trainer, is making sure that they listen, they understand you, and they're not treating you like a number. Of course, you could just, get a trainer who just says, here, do 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you could try. But if you want value out of, what you're working with on a trainer, make sure that you have someone that understands we're all different, we're all in different seasons, all have different goals, and we can't all do the same cookie cutter.
Yeah, that cookie cutter approach. I found that a lot of people go to that when each person needs to be treated as an individual. So it's the same as creating a wellness plan. What works for one is not necessarily going to work. It's not going to work for the next person.
Mhm.
So what about credentials? So should I be asking for someone's training, their credentials? How do I know that you're even trained to
Right.
to do what you're doing. So are those things that a person should be asking to see or just inquiring about?
I think that's a really, really good question because, gosh, that's I can answer that in so many ways. But for example, you know, you could be, you could have all these certificates, all these certifications, all these degrees and things like that. But what is your experience like? You know, like you sit behind the book or the computer and you're reading and researching and you have all these answers that have to do with, the biology and the movement of the body, but do you understand people and how how to work with them, and then the different types of people that you're dealing with and the challenges that they're dealing with, because I think what it really ends up boiling down to is mindset. Each person has a different mindset, so meeting them where they're at within their mindset and then helping them go through those challenges. So in looking for a trainer, I think it's important if they have a certification or two. I don't think you should work with someone who has no history in education and understanding the body and form and movement. But I think the most important thing is experience.
Experience trumps it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. And so let's go into, you see your clients, and I know everybody's going to be on a different time schedule, maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. That all varies. Are there ever times when, aside from just the hands-on, the training, where recovery comes in? What does that look like? Do you recommend, things that can be done at home? We talked to you, you mentioned stress, and I absolutely know a lot about people who are functioning at high stress levels, the corporate world. One thing that I like in creating a wellness plan, when we talk about, okay, the fitness aspect, the nutritional aspect of it, environmental, you mentioned things in the home. And a
Mhm.
lot of that goes over a lot of people's, heads. Sometimes they don't think about
Mhm.
the environment that you become sick in. You can't heal in. It's gonna
Mhm.
be there because it's like going right back. You come to me, you get a massage.
Mhm.
I have this going on. I'm not feeling well, my shoulders, but then you go right back into doing the very same thing that brought you to the massage therapist, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So you have to take a look at what's going on in your daily life.
Mhm.
So we talked about at home, products that you're using, things you're listening to. I think you even mentioned what you're watching. It's like all these things play a part in your
Huge part.
well-being. It's either going to be uplifting you or keeping you down here. So with that being said, the at-home things that a person could be doing, the recovery aspects that a person, because I know
Mhm.
you won't work out, you're sore, you're tired. I know, I know what I do. But do you even get into that part of it with your client to say, maybe you can soak your feet, maybe you need to soak in a tub, maybe you go get in the sauna? Does any of those things ever come up between, you and your client base?
Absolutely. I think that's the most important part, to be honest with you. Movement and physical activity is very important. We both know that. Everybody knows that. They should know that. Hopefully they know that. But when I train my clients, and because of my journey and what I've been through and just my experience, fitness is definitely my therapy. I love working out. It's my literally my therapy, especially with dealing with lupus and hormones and and things like that. There's days I feel off, physically, emotionally, but you know in understanding each person and where they are, of course it's going to differ from person to person. However, sleep, rest days are going to be number one. If you tell me you had a long weekend, you didn't sleep at all, and me and you have a session scheduled on Monday morning, I'm going to tell you go to sleep and rest. That trumps doing actual working out. I feel like your body needs to be rested. I even have a lot of my clients, we do meditation, breath work. So they'll have days where they'll have, maybe 3, 4 days of workouts, physical activity. And then based on where they are in their life and what they're dealing with, I'll assign breath work or meditation. Yeah, just based on listening, just listening to them. But I want to make sure that their workouts never leave them depleted. I want them to always feel energized. Even if that means like, we're just going to take this day of stretching and listening to some meditation music or some praise music, and anything that can reconnect you to your body in a gentle way is always like the yin and the yang. Like we need both. We need that physical activity, but we also have to balance that, with some rest.
I like that. And while we're talking about balance, so my latest ebook is titled Everybody Needs Balance.
Yes.
And I go in, people, balance is everything. Like you can't too much of one thing that we may think is good for us. If it's too much, it can turn into something else.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing enough of one thing, it all goes back to homeostasis, balance in the body, everything that we do. So those are all very good points. And I know that the audience is going to be able to walk away and have some great takeaways on the things that you just mentioned with the breath work aspect, the meditation, being able to tell a client based on, like you said, active listening, oh no, you need to rest today. Don't even come see me. It's not even going to work. Like that's going to be more of a disservice to us both.
Yeah.
So,
or just yelling at them and being like, you can do this. Like some people just like they really can't do it. They're at a moment in their life where they're mentally and physically, they just need a break in their body, and that's okay. Feeling fully rested and all of that. That's actually more important to me.
Yeah, that's huge. I like that. So now we're going to go into, you've explained your journey, where we talked about how you can get the most, how a client can get the most from their fitness, workouts. And that workout does not just always mean weight loss, weight gain. It could be muscle. It's so many things that we don't think about, but just being able to understand the individual needs of a person who is contacting you has a lot of value to it. Cookie cutting. We want to treat everybody as an individual, and I should be able to ask you pretty much anything, right, within your scope, so that I can make a sound decision on saying, yes, this is who I'm going to go with. So do you also suggest in the very beginning stages, should one, well, sometimes you just know, but should one maybe talk to two other professionals to kind of say, okay, well, based on speaking to these three people, this is the person I'm going to go with? Or does that even matter? Do you think?
Well, I think if you mean like as far as like other professionals, like other personal trainers or other just like
so other personal trainers. So if I'm a beginner, it may not even matter. But if I'm a beginner and I'm seeking this new journey, is it best do you recommend, well, hey, go talk to somebody else? You've had a consultation with me. Feel free, speak to somebody else to kind of see if those other needs you need, or does that matter? Is it?
Yeah. Again, I think that's going to differ from person to person. And then, like you said, it's an exchange of energy. So if, me and you meet and you tell me your services and how or why you do them or whatever, and I feel really good about it, then me personally, I'm just going to go with that. If I feel confident and comfortable and the right energy from the person, and of course, if I can afford it, then,
that always matters. And I think one thing that people have to understand, it's the same in the massage therapy world, for quality of service, for health, your body is an asset, and you have to treat it as such. And sometimes I know that people think participating in making a sound decision on, I need a fitness and nutrition professional to help me. I need a massage therapist to help me. I need to go out here and do, it's gonna cost you something. And when we learn to take away from some of the other things that we're choosing to spend our money on, you can't put a price on your well-being, because that sickness is going to cost you far more. That's expensive.
Mhm.
That's expensive, you know. So, but I know that we all find a way to have packages. We make sure to, the more you come, we have this group workout. There's so many ways when you talk to the professional that it's affordable.
Mhm.
To me, it absolutely is
Mhm.
affordable, but that's a great point too. A lot of people kind of look at the cost of it and then they can go elsewhere, or they choose to. But I think the quality of what you're getting from a person, a professional, should be highly considered when making that choice. Don't just go to the what appears to be cheap, because sometimes you're gonna get that,
What you pay for.
gonna get what you pay for. So now I
Mhm.
want to talk to you about, and we've touched on some of it, but just the things that you personally do. I know you said that fitness is your therapy. That's
Mhm.
your therapy. So what are some of the other things that you like to do as far as your self-care routine? I know you travel, you go, you get to, you're in Thailand pretty often. So what are some of the things that you like to do for your self-care?
That is probably my favorite thing to do. Have my little self-care days, and I like to create variety around that. But for me, it's um it's really about checking in, not checking out necessarily, but checking in into what my body needs, like what I need to hear. Sometimes it's just like putting my phone away, doing some, sometimes I'll just read the word. I'll read, something that's pertinent to me in that moment. I'll read it. I'll, try to digest it and then meditate on it, doing something like that. And then just journaling, and just trying to get my thoughts together and organize them into understanding, okay, how am I going to let this add to my life, and sometimes I'll do like, because every Sunday I try to have a ritual, and I try to have something that's rooted in African culture. And the reason being is because I feel like, there's a lot of things that is, or that has been demonized, with African culture. And I feel like it it really, really resonates with me when I read more and more about the traditions, the culture, how and why, the how much it brings you to get clarity, to have power, to heal, to allow yourself to be used as a vessel, to be used as a light when you connect with yourself on a deeper level that's not set up from society and what people believe and what the masses are following. It's just like, do a little bit deeper research and find out why these things are demonized, or why these people, were set to believe one way and not another. But just really connecting with myself on those deeper rooted levels, allowing that to guide me, my connection with the source, to not be corrupted with other people's perspectives and thoughts, or Western societies, the perspectives, but really just making sure that sometimes I try to do it every week, but if I could do it more, I can. But just weekly, really go within, check within myself. If that means like taking a long bath with some essential oils, I absolutely love my BAMS therapeutic package that I got. I literally use that at least once or twice a week.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So I love my little salts with the rose petals and the oils, that relaxing oil. I'm gonna have to get some more because that is my absolute favorite oil to use. But like, just loving on your body in the sense where you're putting things on your body that are not toxic, doesn't have additives, just some all natural aromatic oils, things that just open up your body on a deeper level, your senses on a deeper level. I love doing that. That's, my favorite things to do. Just love on myself, washing my
Loving
hair.
on yourself. I love
Yes,
it.
yes. Anything that has to do with that, I'm always gonna take some time out for stuff like that again, because I think rest and recovery and that type of balance is super important, especially when you're going hard in the gym 4 or 5 days a week. Your body needs that balance. So if it's microdosing with shrooms, like I love to explore that too in nature. It just depends on what my body and mind and what I feel like God, the path God's led me on for that week or that month or that
I
season
love that.
on it.
It's just being present and listening. And a lot of times that's the key of being able to be still so that you can listen and hear. We're always on the go, just constantly moving about that we miss some critical messages that come or the signs that are just right there until you finally are forced to sit down.
Yes.
And
don't let yourself get to that point.
Right, because then at that point it's like people ask me, so I'm gonna go just briefly into the last 10 years of being vegan, right? And a lot of times I get the why did you do that? Why did you stop? What are the things you miss, or has it been hard? Well, I have several different reasons, but it's like in war, you don't get to the point of on the battlefield and then it's like, okay, now I'm preparing. Oh no, it's too late. It's happening now. So I've always felt like making changes before I needed to really make a change. I'm forced to make a change, right? So I'm like, I love preventive care. So even in massage therapy, you don't have to be in pain to receive a massage. You don't necessarily have to have this I want to lose weight, gain weight, I just want to feel better. I want to maximize this God body. And so I could be feeling perfectly fine and say, hey Kim, let's hit the gym. Or hey Kim, what can I do just to maintain this beautiful feeling, this healthy feeling, this vibration I'm on, to just maximize. So the same with the eating aspect for me, it's like, oh, don't trip. It's been hard. It's been difficult, but it's been worth it. Right. And so often I see people who, when their health is failing, if you will, now it's like, I need to stop doing this. And now that willpower, and it's far more difficult to be in that moment making those decisions than to make it when you don't necessarily have to make it, other than the fact that you're just aware.
There are so many people, Alicia, that way I'm talking about. I talk to people every single day that's in their 50s and up, 50s, 60s, 70s. I've talked to a lady in her 80s, never worked out a day in their life. They wait until they get diagnosed with something, or they're already been on medication for type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetic diagnosis. They're on medication for high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and they're like, well, I'm on medication and it manages it, so it's okay. And I'm like, at what point in your life did you allow yourself to be okay with that? At what point in your life did you just see all that visceral fat, that stubborn belly fat, and you just thought, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with, all this fat around my organs. I'm okay with, not drawing a line in the sand today and saying, you know what, this is going too far. What am I going to do about it? Like, at what point are you going to say enough is enough? And I feel like most Americans, they wait until that moment where they're like about to be on their deathbed, and now they want to do everything in the book that they can to get their health back. And it's like, bro, you're going to wait until you're 60 years old to now want to work out. Do you know how hard it is at 30? I'm 45, about to be 45 now. Do you know how hard it is? So to wait till you get to that point, like, there's always something you can do. Always something you can do. Even if it's something minute, consistency is going to be a game changer for you. But doing something and not waiting to that breaking point, and like you said, realizing that investing in your health is going to save you in the long term. People get so bent out of shape about spending, $100 or something like that on a trainer or getting a massage. And it's like, but you'll go and have a drink every weekend, or you'll go and get Starbucks, every day before work. And you don't think twice about that. Like,
choices. It boils down to choices. And when you said, you just touched on a lot of things, but I'm going to share this because this is a true moment that I experienced, right? So I would battle my weight a little bit. And there was a point when I had gotten up to probably like, and for me, this is big, like maybe like 170. Could have been a little over that, right?
Mhm.
But I'm just going through the motions, just going through, like you were saying, not being accountable, just going through like, and it took me one day to really look at the fact that I went from wearing, let's just say, undergarments, small to medium, to uh, large, extra large almost, right? And I had this moment in time, because we all say when a person is going through some things, it really takes them to have that breaking point. You can tell them every day,
Mhm.
this is what's going on, this is what's going on. They have to just realize it for themselves. Well,
Yep.
yeah, it happened for me. I've looked at my undergarments, literally, decide who's wearing these? These are mine. I didn't realize that I was going to the store or shopping and I was getting bigger sizes, that my clothes were now like a 12, almost a 14. And I looked at those undergarments. I was disgusted.
Mhm.
That was my moment. And it was like, nah, this ain't happening. What am I doing? How am I losing myself? Right? Literally. Um, and I had no excuse other than just me being accountable for, like, what are you doing? Where's the self-love and respect? Like,
That part.
where's the self-love and respect? Right.
Mhm.
So that was and people have to get, and it's okay. And I laughed about it. I did. I've laughed about it. Like, girl, what are you doing? So those things are okay, but we have to be accountable in our choices that
Mhm.
we are making every single day, from the Starbucks you're buying, the poor choices in eating, the going back to the environment.
Mhm.
All of it is key. And one thing I learned in speaking to you was the mindset. Oftentimes, we don't hear that enough,
Mhm.
of developing your mind, and you have to go away with all those perspectives you talked about, you mentioned, to redefine who you are, redefine your path.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so important on this journey of just every day. You have to you have to rebuild.
Yeah.
You have to rebuild yourself and let go of those things. So I admired that. Self-care being one of your rituals, that you're going to study African culture, learn that, implement that, get a better understanding. And I can see the glow. I can see just through you, just the beauty and the glow of what you're doing. You're active in your healing, and on this journey, you're living the lifestyle. You are who you say you are, How can I remember taking my son to the gym for training, basketball training, right? And there was always this one trainer off to the side. And when you would walk in the gym, he had a big McDonald's cup, like the biggest cup they probably ever had, drinking a soda, the poor quality of food. And you would see the difference of the children running his direction for training versus the ones going to the other side. Because it's like, bro, we're talking about fitness, you're talking about nutrition, training. You have to be that person to
Right.
be. So I always was like, no, son, we're not ever going over there. 'Cause I can look at what he's doing. He's comfortable in here demonstrating this. He can't even run with you guys. But when I
Mhm.
go this way, these trainers are actually active, running, participating. If they're telling you today, this is what you're going to do, this is the lesson, they're physically doing it first.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I can see, I love that everything that you're giving to your client is a part of you,
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Thank you for that. So
Yeah.
let's see, what else do we have here? Are there any other things that you want to add before we close?
Just that I feel like, in touching on a little bit of everything you said, thinking about each person individually, where they are in their lives and their mindset. I think start with the mindset of, you know, you deserve to feel good in your body.
Mm.
You deserve that, and not just, you know, okay, I'm gonna wait till next year, or, because I got so much going on. I'm so busy. I'm taking care of this person. I'm taking care of that person, my kids. You deserve to feel good in your body, not
That's an
one day.
affirmation. I love that. That's
So,
a daily
yeah, but
affirmation.
today, make up your mind, make up your mind to say, what, I deserve to feel good in my body today. Because if you're pouring into so many other people and they're not getting the best value or the best you, are you really loving them the way that you want to? Are you really showing up for them the way that they deserve? Are you really giving them the person that you really want to? And the answer is going to be no every single time, because you're pouring from a cup that's half full or empty.
Mhm.
So pour from a cup that's overflowing. Pour from the overflow to others, and not just, a halfway full cup. And stop telling yourself you don't deserve that, because you do. You do.
Okay, I like that very much. So if a person in Cal, do you do any virtual? So let's just ask that question. I know you're in Rancho Cucamonga, or actually in Ontario.
Rancho Ontario area. Yep.
Okay, so we'll make sure and highlight that at the end. But if I'm somewhere out the state, somewhere out the country, are there any virtual options for the work that you do?
Yeah, so I do offer online training. So, what I like to do, again, because everybody's so different, I like to do an assessment. So we'll hop on the phone call, 30-minute phone call, 30-minute phone call. I really just want to assess where you are and see what we can put together for you that you can remain consistent through. So again, I'm not getting on the phone with people who just want to lose some fat loss, weight loss. It's about making some choices that you can sustain for the rest of your life. So if we determine that, you're a good fit, I'm a good fit for you, and we can, work through this together. I do offer online coaching where, we have this conversation. I build out a program based on what you have access to, based on your goals, based specifically, on you, and, make sure you have everything you need to grow. So online is how I'm working with my clients right now. And if you're in the area and you're local, I love to be able to meet up with you at least once a month, just to make sure that you feel confident and comfortable in your movement and in your body, the way you're moving, making sure that it's safe. And, there's a lot of people that have apprehensions about being in a gym. So if that's something that's a goal of yours, helping you work through that. Because it's one thing I'll never, ever allow to happen is anybody in the gym make anybody that I'm with or that I'm working with feel less than or weird, or look laughed at, or I'll whoop somebody before they,
Okay, I love it. Support your. I love that.
Yeah, but
Um,
I definitely want people to feel confident, because in turn, when you're feeling confident about the way you move your body, you're going to feel confident in the decisions you make with your career, your spouse, your kids, the way you spend your money. When you have confidence in just how you move your body and how you look in the mirror and how you show up, and that's chubby or not, you're going to feel confident in the way that you move in the world.
oh,
So, yeah, that's my goal,
okay,
just to make sure you build that.
that's beautiful. So couple fun things before we close, and when we get to that point, yeah, you can drop your social media and ways that people can find you. But let's see, what are some of your playlists? So when you are in the gym or whatever you're doing, like, do you have go-to music? So like, what do you do? Like, how do you just get all the way in?
That's a really good question. So right now I'm really heavy into Afro beats. So I'm always listening to Afro beats. Just the vibe is like very upbeat. It's wholesome for the most. It's like love, and it's pretty wholesome music. However, I will say, if it's a day where I'm lifting really heavy and I need an extra light, just that extra light of energy, I will listen to some Glorilla, some Sexy Red, some Young Dolph.
Okay, young dog. And I know for one of the videos you did for me. So let me give a little backstory on this as well. For Body and Mind Solutions, as we're growing into our body aspect has been present, of course. So body and mind solutions. So solutions to the body, mind, and soul, right? So Kim is our go-to for the fitness aspect. So videos you may have seen that gave quick tutorials on maybe you're doing a squat or how to do a push-up. This is who we are rocking with, our wellness partner, Kim. So I had to mention that. And one of the videos you gave, I think it was Young Jeezy, maybe.
Oh.
It might have had Jeezy on there.
Probably because I like Jeezy
Um,
too.
Why did I say Young Jeezy? Is that ever been his name? Or is it just Jeezy? Like, I'm like, Young Jeezy.
Girl, I don't. It
I'm
might be.
As I've gotten here, we get older. I'm like, but I know you had a Jeezy song on there that was.
Yeah, you're right. No, actually, no, it just says Jeezy.
Yeah, why did I call him Young Jeezy? I don't know. But that song was a banger, and I was like, oh, okay.
No, it does say, you're right. It does say Young Jeezy on here.
It's Young Jeezy. Yeah, but that just sounds so weird saying.
It does.
Okay, so we're just well versed when it comes to the music. Afro beats I love too. So I'm right there with you. I used to, when I had my massage studio back in LA many moons ago, I would allow clients to kind of pick, because everybody does not want to hear the spa music. They're okay with relaxing, hearing some upbeat. So I had this thing where when you came into the office space, you could choose your own own music for that moment. For that. So let's see what else here. How about your smoothies? Like, I miss IB Juice Bar back in Rancho. I can say like one of my spots to go and grab something. I'm here getting Dr. Juice Cleanse every day now. So I have my replacement. But what is your go-to smoothie?
So I've lately been trying to include like maca powder in my smoothies. But my go-to is always gonna be, you know, I eat meat, so I do like a whey protein. So I have a chocolate and a vanilla one. So if I'm in, you know, the chocolate mood, I'll do like a berry smoothie with chocolate, and I'll add some almond butter. You know, of course, the chocolate whey protein, sometimes a little oatmeal, maybe a date to make it a little sweeter, yogurt, some almond milk, unsweetened organic, of course, almond milk, nothing with additives is always gonna be my go-to. Or just if I'm doing the vanilla, I love a strawberry vanilla whey protein smoothie, maybe add a banana. But I've been trying to add some other things to the smoothie, like, you know, creatine is always something I've been adding lately, especially going through, I've been talking a lot about, you know, going through perimenopause right now. That's a moment of my life I'm going through. But, you know, just adding things that can help with joint, skin care, hormonal shifts, things like that has kind of been my go-to lately. But definitely a strawberry vanilla shake or a chocolate berry shake are like my two favorite. And I used to do this coffee one because I love me.
I'm a coffee drinker. I had that early this morning.
Yes. Me too. I still love me my coffee. So I would do like, you know, the leftover coffee from the morning that I didn't drink. And then I would add, you know, the vanilla protein for
I need to try that.
Yeah, it's really good. Some vanilla protein, and then, you know, some ice. Sometimes I'll put a banana, but usually just the coffee with the protein powder, and just mix it all up with some ice.
I'm gonna try that. Well, that's a good one for me. That was a gem. So as we close, let's tell the audience how they can find you, how to get in touch with you. Again, whether it's virtual, so your email, your social media, whatever you need to give them.
Yeah, the Instagram is going to be the easiest, House Fitness and Nutrition, and it's my last name, which is spelled HOWSE. So House, HOWSE, Fitness and Nutrition. You can find me on social media, on TikTok, Facebook even. But I do primarily through Instagram just because I've gotten so used to it. I'm trying not to devote. It's, you know, you spread yourself so thin through so many social media apps, but primarily their email is, you know, housefoundation@yahoo.com. And let's see, what was the other thing you asked?
No, yeah, just all of your handles. So that's fine. And I'll make sure to have it in here anyway. It'll be typed in so that they can find you. But this has
Yeah.
been a great connection with you. I appreciate you. I learned a lot. And I'm sure that everyone who takes a listen will have plenty of good takeaways to move forward in their healing journey.
Oh, and one thing
Oh, yeah.
I forgot to mention, I do have a 10-day cleanse coming up on July 7th. So, if any of the people that you share this with or your listeners or followers are interested in getting like a 10-day detox where we're actually we're going to be eating foods, but we're just going to really learn about understanding what you're putting in your body and how it makes you feel. So like removing red meat, dairy, anything that causes inflammation, adding more fiber, eating more fruits, eating more whole foods that can help your body digest properly, that can release toxins, inflammation, help you sleep better, build your energy back up naturally. We'll be focused on that. So it's just another mindset shift to learn about reading labels, understanding that, and just take 10 days. And it really impacts people on a really deep level within their body, because now you're understanding what it is you're putting in your body and how specifically it makes you feel. So July 7th.
What day was that again? You said July.
Yeah, Monday, July 7th. So you can have all your fun on July 4th and
that's gonna be perfect timing after that.
Mm-hmm.
A 10-day. Okay, we'll drop that information in here as well. But thank you. I appreciate that. Like I said, it's been a pleasure connecting with you, and I know we'll be in touch again very soon.
Absolutely.
But thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you for this opportunity to share. And I hope that if it touches just one person, that will mean everything to me.
Absolutely.
Better don't leave one piece. Had the power to pop like glue. Eat juicy. Knife in my bed, they try to call.